A home win for Porsche, another Mitch Evans burn from the Stern Masterclass, and obligatory Dan Ticktum Fury were just a few of the touchpoints in Formula E's latest visit to one of its OG venues, Berlin Tempelhof. A frenzied multi-driver title fight took further shape, a popular first-time winner was crowned, and all that against the backdrop of very significant driver market movement, with the Gen 4 grid clearer than ever, but still a fascinating and tantalising mystery. Let's start with that. Unchanged lineups, although not confirmed yet, are likely to be seen across Porsche, Andretti, Mahindra and Citroën. The rest of the grid is set to shuffle quite a lot. Two major official confirmations came though ahead of Berlin to drive this point home. Mitch Evans moving on from Jaguar after a decade, and Lucas Di Grassi retiring. Evans' confirmation at Opel is expected later this year in a deal that is believed to have been concluded in March. Teo Pourchaire, the former F2 champion, is odds-on favourite to join Evans after several days of testing with the Gen 4 car in the last few months. Stoffel Vandoorne is the hot favourite to replace Evans at the Big Cat. At its customer team, Envision, the duo of Sebastian Buemi and Joel Eriksson have had a solid season so far, and the Greens may elect for continuity. But in part, this may ultimately come down to whether or not there are clashes in schedules with the FIA World Endurance Championship in 2027, where Buemi has a long-term Toyota hypercar deal. Now for the real volatility. This is set to come with the Penske, Cupra Kiro, Nissan and Lola teams, the latter now confirmed in needing a replacement for Di Grassi. Robert Schwartzman, forced to interrupt his IndyCar career by the ongoing Prema saga, frequented the Formula E paddock in Berlin and is known to be talking to several teams. Other familiar F2 faces include Victor Martins, Richard Verschoor, Gabriele Mini, Kush Meni and even short-time F1 racer Jack Doohan. They're all believed to be possibilities for seats. An added mix-up could come in the shape of Porsche's planned second team if DTM champion Chan Guven does not get the requisite points to get an E-licence. He is testing the Gen 4 car presently and is the preferred option for Porsche, although the identity of a teammate is presently a genuine paddock mystery. Speaking of paddock mysteries, it is hard not to be ceaselessly intrigued by the situation at DS Penske, in a serious trough on track and at a serious crossroads for Gen 4. Berlin was particularly unpleasant for this team. Taylor Barnard was again quick over one lap, getting onto the front row of the grid on Sunday, but any notion of fighting at the very front when it mattered was compromised by a consistent lack of pace and some strategic miscues. Barnard bagged some points and was generally a little quicker than teammate Max Gunter, but at no stage did DS Penske look like really taking it to its rivals. DS, remember, announced its exit from the World Championship in March and will be supplanted by sister brand Opel. An elegant exit looks unlikely now. It's 9th in the team's table, ahead of only the still fairly new Lola Yamaha App Squad. You could say that these are the results of a team just waiting for what's next. But what is next? On the Penske side, it is an unknown strategy as of yet, just 6 months before the official pre-season test. Plans to run its own powertrain are highly unlikely to happen now, and a customer deal must be sought in the coming weeks. Owner Jay Penske has poured a huge amount of commercial resource into Formula E over the last 12 years, with moderate success on track. Which partner does he bet on to turn things around? With Nissan set to supply Andretti, Jaguar to continue with Envision, Stellantis unlikely to want to continue with Penske, and Lola not in a position to adequately provide and support a customer program right now, attention is thus turning to a possible Porsche or Mahindra deal. How something with Porsche might develop is completely unknown, as the German manufacturer has already announced its own second factory entity and has also agreed some terms with Cupra Kiro for Gen 4. And Mahindra is well behind the development curve with its Gen 4 project just now and isn't anticipated to test until June, making it a far from attractive proposition for a customer. All this in turn is having an effect on the driver market, with Barnard and Gunter anxiously awaiting Penske's Gen 4 project details. Back onto track matters. Ahead of the season's halfway mark at Monaco later this month, the title fight between consistent 2026 front-runners Pascal Wehrlein, Eduardo Mortara, Mitch Evans and Oliver Rowland took another shape here at Tempelhof. They all took a backseat though to Nico Muller on Saturday. His first win at the 69th time of asking was a reasonably comfortable and straightforward one too, achieved in a retro pig livery made iconic by the legendary Porsche 917 sports car in the early 1970s. Muller bided his time expertly in Saturday's race, timing his pit boost stop to perfection. He had faced some doubts after a shaky season, seconded to Andretti in 2025, but when Antonio Felix da Costa's fractious time at Porsche came to an end, Muller was confirmed quickly as his replacement. He frankly wasn't fancied that much, but he started strong, notching up 5-point scores from the first 6 races before his Berlin victory. There was much paddock appreciation for the 34-year-old Muller and his long-awaited win, though the day was a bittersweet one for Porsche. There was a case of friendly fire, a freakish incident actually between Wehrlein, Porsche's chief championship hope, and Jake Dennis in the customer Andretti car, when the slightest of contact between the pair broke a valve on the right front wheel of Pascal Wehrlein's Porsche. The resulting deflation triggered a pit stop, and with no safety car periods in the race, Wehrlein came home a disconsolate 19th. It briefly promoted Mortara into the points lead, but the status quo was reset by Sunday for all three. Muller in an incident, Mortara in the lower reaches of the points, and Wehrlein on the podium and back into the title lead. In his last hurrah with Jaguar this season, Mitch Evans has executed some remarkable back-to-front performances. 17th on the grid to victory on Sunday at Tempelhof was probably the best of the lot, and a real boost to his title hopes. Patience and guile were the key traits here. Evans, along with a handful of other drivers, decided to sacrifice qualifying to keep fresher tyres for the race. The plan worked excellently for Evans. It was aided by him deploying a smart 6-minute and 2-minute attack mode strategy, the 6 minutes of boost pushing him through the dangerous midfield mire, while others were not in the 350 kilowatt mode, giving him a clear run to the front. Oliver Rowland, the same strategy, was a big threat, but hindered by time-consuming battles with Sebastian Buemi. So Evans ended up ahead, right where he wanted to be, when a late race full course yellow ensured the race went flat out and Evans could take care of business. Jaguar has now won 4 of the last 6, Evans with 2, Antonio Felix da Costa with 2, but da Costa had a nightmare here in Berlin. He scored only a point on Saturday, lamenting an unspecified power issue, and dropped out of contention in a run-in with Muller. The incident was investigated by the FIA, but not actioned upon, which was a major surprise to both teams involved. It was particularly irksome for da Costa, who felt Muller's move to his left on the straight was never on. It's just really stupid for both of us, vented da Costa. Back to Evans. Remember, he had scored nothing in the first 2 rounds of the season, but he's been on an absolute tear-up since then, and could get his long-awaited title just as he is leaving Jaguar, which faces the real prospect of finally clinching the number 1, and then watching it waltz into another garage.